All right, in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a bar chart in Google Sheets. For this, we're going to use some CO2 emissions data, and it's by sector. So I've got it available in my Google Sheet already, and I've opened that up. So you can see my data here. I've got carbon dioxide emissions in millions of metric tons, and it's organized by source. You can see my different sources along this first column here. It also has gross total and net total. Now, the data for this is by year, spanning from 1990, and if I scroll all the way to the right through 2019. So for this demonstration, I'm just going to focus on 1990 carbon dioxide emissions. And like I said, just want to make a simple bar chart. So for this, I'm going to select the range of cells that I want to make a bar chart out of. I don't want to include any of the totals. I just want to focus on these major sectors that are related to CO2 emissions. So I'm going to highlight just this range of cells here, A1 through B5. Now, once I've got those selected, I'm ready to start making my chart. So I'm going to go up to Insert, Chart, and there it is. So Google Sheets is picking a column chart. You can see in the chart types over here by default, and that's a fine choice. I can see my different row labels here are below each bar. Now, one thing I don't like is I've got my first emission source label is one of my bars, and that's not actually what I want. I don't want 1990, the year, to be one of these values. So what I'm going to do is go start editing this chart to refine it into exactly what I want. So if I am editing my chart, the chart editor is open because I just inserted this chart. I notice one of the check boxes here says use row 1 as headers, and right, so that's what I've got here. I've got emissions of carbon dioxide as a header, 1990 as a header, and the years, so forth. So I'm going to check use row 1 as header, and you can see that that first bar for 1990 went away. So that's much closer to what I want. So this is looking pretty good. Now I want to use some good chart practices here. So some of the things I'd like to do is give this a nice title, clean up the look and feel a little bit so that it looks exactly how I want it. So I think first off I'm going to go work on this vertical axis. So I've got millions of metric tons. This MMT is the units for this label. So I think I want to get that in there. So let's see if we can figure this out. I'm in the properties for my vertical axis, but actually I want axis title. So I'm going to click on this. I'm under Customize, and I want to customize my vertical axis, and I'm going to call this millions metric tons of CO2. All right, so that gives that a better label. Let's see, what else do I want to improve? My overall chart needs a good title. So I'm going to go similar under chart and axis titles for chart title, and I'm going to call this, let's see, CO2 emissions emissions by sector. All right, so that's up there now at the top. That's starting to look good. Let's see, I'm also maybe interested in giving these numbers here a little nicer formatting. I'm going to click on that axis. You can see as I drag my mouse around, it highlights different components of the chart. I want to focus on that vertical axis. Let's see, I'm interested in giving that a better number formatting. So I don't want it to appear as dollars or percents. So I'm going to go into other custom formats. What I really want is just some commas in there. I feel like when you've got bigger numbers, the commas make it a little easier to read. So let's try this one out. Looks like it's going to give me the the formatting I want. So now I've got some commas in these rather large numbers. Finally, what I want to do is maybe add some color for emphasis. So one of the interesting observations about this chart is that land use, forestry, this sector, this is a sink for CO2, right? So the plants, vegetation, trees, those things are breathing in carbon dioxide, so it's coming out of the air and going into plants. So that's got a negative value, but in the world of climate change, that's probably a good thing. So I'm going to click on that particular bar, and I'm going to give it more of a green shade, sort of indicating that's maybe a more positive thing. And then on these other bars, I'm going to give them maybe more of a negative connotation. I'm going to give them more of a shade of red. So for each of these other bars, I'm going to go in and tone them with a little bit more red. Let's see. So it looks like I'm having trouble clicking. You can see agriculture is a near zero value. It's got a value of only 7, so it's hard for me to click on that. So let's see, I'm going to come in here and let's see if I click on one of these. That's formatting that data point. I want to format this one here. How do I get access to that? Series. Formatting my data points. All right, here we go. So if I scroll down here, I can format individual data points, and here's my land use one. I'm going to give that a red shade as well. Oop, that's not what I wanted. Which one am I missing? Oh, I need to add it. Okay. So here we go. Here we go. I'm going to add my agriculture, and now I can give it some custom formatting. That's what we've got going on. So just a hint of red, but just want to make sure I've consistently apply that color encoding to all of them. So, just in sort of a storytelling and communication, more CO2, kind of the negative message, even those are positive values, we want to give them a red color to communicate that message, whereas land use, more of a positive, we're going to give it a green. More of this, less of this, what we're shooting for. So that's how you take some data and make a bar chart, and applying some good principles for visualization, good labels, increasing our readability, using color to send a good message.